We'll see who counts the food.
This is the Troll live with JustinFREAKIN.
I really need to get high. Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a friggin' Monday. Good evening. I was just thinking that as the countdown. That's not even a meme. You just sent me a goddamn... Was that your receipt? First of all, I didn't even know they made white American cheese. American cheese is that nasty. It's not even cheese. It's not even fucking cheese. I hate it. It's the nastiest goddamn thing I've ever put in my mouth. Cheese product. Thank you, Flash. Cheese product. Fuzzy Simba. Flash. Warlord. Byronic. Good evening. It is Byronic night on Live Music Monday after this. I'll let Byronic pick one of the bands we're going to watch tonight. And then I was trying to come up with somebody else to watch. And I'm like, oh, we'll just make it a whole Byronic night. I'm not even going to tell her the other band I picked out. But she going to be happy. Warlord, we are in the midst of a downturn right now. They're out arresting people and trying to protect property. The fires will pick back up overnight tonight, and we got like the next 3 days of just sheer destruction to come yet again. So you have that to look forward to. The people of California kind of getting a reprieve today. Better air quality. The fires are getting somewhat contained. Winds pick back up tonight. It's a possibility that it will ground the air efforts to contain the fires. And once again, blowing the embers around, allowing the fires to spread even further. Oh my God, Flash, that clip had just popped up for me as I was getting on. I didn't actually get to watch it. Of Elon apparently getting owned by a firefighter. I've been arguing with dumbfuck right-wingers on Twitter. Flash might have seen it. It was this dumb movie about how California wasn't doing enough to prevent the wildfires. And the dude was like, well, they could have prevented this if they had been doing controlled burns. Turns out that they wanted to do controlled burns last year, and it was too dry. The conditions were too dry for them to do controlled burns. So what you had was a couple years of, whoa! What you had was a couple the cats with the laser eyes. That was a Smokey. He's coming over to say hey to everybody. Well, come on, Bubby. Come on. We should have just wet down all the brush. What a great idea. Minty, Holiday, good evening. Welcome in. But, I'm having an argument because, a lot of the right-wingers are, one, wanting to blame mismanagement so they can call Democrats evil. And two, they want to divert from the idea of climate change. Lenny, good evening, my friend. Welcome in. They're too fucking dumb. Here is I didn't even realize I hadn't flipped over to where we had the music going. Battle Opossum, good evening. Here's your meme of the day. Comment section be like, why hasn't the city fixed this yet? Let's get high. Battle Opossum. I'm going to do, just because you're right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this so you can make fun of the way I say it. Khabib Nurmagomedov was kicked off a flight. Oh my God. I actually got hired to do a voiceover for a UFC channel and I couldn't do it. I quit after the first video I made for them because I couldn't get any of the names right. Khabib Nurmagomedov was kicked off a flight for apparently harassing a flight attendant. Frontier Airlines say they were within their rights to kick him off. A man was arrested after driving to Indianapolis. Nurmagomedov. Thank you, Ducky. A man was arrested. Close enough. You tried. You did your best. You did your part. A man was arrested after he drove to Indianapolis to harass Caitlin Clark. A police chase interrupted a family's backyard barbecue. Bomb squad in Chicago responding to what looked to be a gun and a bomb. If you didn't hate the cops already, I've got a video. I mean, who in my chat doesn't hate the cops already? If you didn't hate the cops enough already, I've got a video for you. A man apparently had been shot, calls the cops. And we've got body cam footage of what happens after that. People of Belgium are protesting over their pensions being decreased, which is awesome. Joe Biden says a ceasefire is close between Gaza and Israel. I don't believe him. Former governor of New York State, Andrew Cuomo. That is the right Cuomo, right? Andrew's the politician. Chris is the News Nation guy. I think I'm getting my Cuomos right. Andrew Cuomo leading in the mayoral race in New York City. We're going to hear from Tommy Tuberville on the fires in California. The DOJ is set to release the report on Hunter Biden's gigantic schlong. Eileen Cannon clearing the way for part of the January 6th report about Trump to be published. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to be here with you at 8 o'clock as we begin the confirmation hearings for several of Trump's picks. Tomorrow, Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is tomorrow. That's the big one. Tadpole, good evening. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening. I'm not perverted. I'm Italian. Nurmagomedov. It was fun when I tried to say the Danish words the other day. Remember they had them on the podium and I did my best to pronounce. Because that one word was just like, that couldn't have even been a real word, right? It had like fucking 20 syllables in it. We are up to like 26 deaths currently. Hold on. Oh my God, Flash. Warlord does that all the time, by the way. But you're not understanding that, like, I'd listen to it, I'd say it a couple times, put the video down, I'm going to mispronounce it the next time I say it. So, like, you're acting like I would learn if I actually looked up how to say it.
Breaking before and after photos have surfaced. This home in Pacific Palisades was reduced, look at these pictures, my God, to ash after flames engulfed it. All that's left standing are the chimneys. The fire also destroyed this Shell gas station, and its charred remains sit on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. And this home, which once stood near the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, has been completely decimated. My goodness, all that's left are the metal beams of this home. It's just hard to imagine all the things inside that are gone too, but just it's still just shocking to see.
Speaking of inside, I do think about all the artwork on the walls. I mean, you think about family photographs, but in terms of just the value, people are saying 50 billion, and then you see estimates of 100 billion now. That's the structures, it's the land, but it's also all the stuff inside these homes, which were gorgeous. All right, speaking of devastation, CBS News got an aerial view of just how bad things are in Southern California. This is as the threat of those dangerous Santa Ana winds that got this all started in the first place returns, stoking new fears about the spread of even more wildfires in Los Angeles. Officials say these fires are already responsible for at least 24 fatalities, and they've damaged or destroyed more than 12,000 structures and forced the evacuation of some 150,000 residents. Our Maurice Dubois got a first-hand look from the air at how these once sprawling California communities have been, in many cases, wiped out.
From up here, you get the scope, the scale of this disaster.
5,000 homes were destroyed.
I mean, it's hard to wrap your mind around.
Rolled over these hills and roared toward the Pacific.
We're getting a closer look at Beverly's community, a place she's called home for 10 years. And look at it now.
There is not much to see for Beverly Narayan, a retired attorney.
I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do.
The firestorm took what was her affordable beachfront paradise, a mobile home park of 170 homes tucked between ultra-luxury mega mansions. Now she faces what so many do, uncertainty and near total loss.
You know, whatever I owned is gone. I know it's stuff, but it's things that were really important to me.
She walked 3 miles to where her trailer home once stood, searching for any signs of her old life. And you found some really valuable stuff.
Yeah, I found these are sobriety coins because I'm in a 12-step program, and it was important for me to find them if I could because some of them are brass and or enamel.
Narayan is...
You think she's California sober?
Not about the money.
Married neighbors Charlie Giannetti and Abigail Hercules searched for her wedding ring, one that she designed, sifting through the ash.
That's really all I'm looking for.
Yeah, the rest of everything that's in the house just feels easily replaceable.
For now, all many can do is hope and try to heal. What are you going to do now?
There's a lot of distraction right now. I'm just trying to do literally one day at a time because I don't know what's going to happen or where I'm going to be.
For CBS Mornings, I'm Maurice Dubois in Los Angeles.
I'm struck by all the palm trees that stayed standing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that. But I'm thinking about all
I assume the fire doesn't...
pieces of jewelry that have such significance to people. That
The palm isn't as flammable.
you know they're there. It must be so agonizing. You can't
Clinically, good evening.
find them. And then at a certain point, time will be up. They're going to be cleaning it out.
Yeah, and those people are looking with those metal detectors. Just I hope everyone finds what they're looking
they're
for.
looking
I know
for,
that's
yeah.
going to be so hard.
This person's house survived, but nothing else. Well, that house survived.
Our house is...
Well, like the shrubage is all the way up, and like the tree, like the palm is wet in itself.
Our house is done.
Our house is
What a weird question for her to ask. I wonder why the palm trees didn't burn.
this one. Random.
Which one is our house?
It's up here, baby. You'll know it when you see our wall.
The one wall.
Oh, that's still running. That's bad.
Yeah. She's the Tesla girl.
Yeah.
Our wall. It's still burning. It's still burning. It's still burning.
I saw people say that this was going to cause rents to skyrocket. How does this not collapse the California housing market? How is there not a mass exodus? And we're not out of the woods yet. We're looking at 3 more days of total devastation. After they've had a couple days to kind of get things under control. So instead of fixing the problems with California, we're just going to exacerbate them. going to crank up the capitalism even more. And we're going to be doing this again in 3 or 4 or 5 years. First time? You're right, Flash. You're right. The video is just heartbreaking. What a gorgeous area, too. And that's rebuilding is going to take forever. You're right, Lenny. So here, just like on Friday, I just put the video up of Mel Gibson being a dumb bigot. Officials are saying that they have arrested multiple people for looting. I think I saw 9 people arrested for looting. A man was arrested for arson as well.
I'd like to now introduce Azusa Police Department Chief Rocky Wenwick.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd just like to say, on behalf of the city and our department, pass along our prayers and thoughts and condolences to all those who have lost a loved one or lost property. To add to the previous speakers, for us, we're outside that fire zone, immediate fire zone area. What I'd like to commend is our community for paying attention, being observant, and seeing something and saying something. At that time, the park had lost a lot of trees that were down. The city had started its cleanup process, made big piles of lumber and bushes, and they were all piled up, which made something for somebody to come by and say, hey, look at that. It looked like it'd be a great place to light a fire or cause some damage. The park was just 100 yards from the base of the San Gabriel Mountains, so we got lucky that day. And I'd like to thank the community for keeping their eyes out and ask everybody to keep your eyes out. In times of this disaster that's going on, people might not go to those areas because, just like the sheriff said right now, there are curfews, but they also know that law enforcement from all over the county is there to assist those areas, to assist the LAPD, assist the National Guard, to assist the Sheriff's Department, and these other...
Yeah, 9 people charged with looting.
Leaves vulnerabilities elsewhere.
1 with arson.
Receive vulnerabilities, but the community, please be vigilant elsewhere, because it just takes another fire someplace else, and we have to split our resources. So please stay vigilant, and again, thank you to everybody from...
Fuck that dude. I didn't like the cut of his jib. Just looking at him, I knew I didn't like him. Before we get into the political stuff, let's go ahead. Let's take a live look. They're getting ready to give the weather report about exactly what conditions they're going to be having tonight.
To possibly 60-mile-per-hour gust. I don't think it's going to be as long a duration with this event, but there will be some strong winds later tonight. That's before the red flag warning covers all areas of Southern California. This is a high wind warning, which is mainly up in Ventura County and areas of northern LA County up through the higher elevations. And even Santa Clarita is in that. Also the IE in Orange County getting...
Dude looks like he should own a car lot.
Warnings tonight. So here's our forecast as we go through time. You'll notice most of it is a east and northeasterly wind, a little bit different than what we normally have, where we had really strong northerly winds. This weather situation is different, and there you can see through time. So let's go tonight. About 11 o'clock, we'll start to see winds picking up.
You can see through time.
Problem up at Eaton Canyon, but you could see 20 to 30.
It usually just happens to me when I've had too much LSD.
Be quite strong with wind gusts of 36 to 46 miles per hour. Not out of the question to see a few gusts in that 60 range, but far different from what we had this time last week. And then by 8:35 tomorrow night, it's still windy out through those canyon areas, but again, nothing super duper strong. I really believe that this event is completely different than the one that we have had, and that's the point I want to stress.
Well, good.
Air quality, according to the AQMD map, is good, but I do agree that the particulates are very, very small, and you certainly don't want to be out there breathing any of that. All right, so remember last week I was talking about this new area of low pressure that would come down, that it would stay offshore, and thank goodness that's where it is. It shows up beautifully here on the water.
We are 1 week away from the inauguration, and hopefully they have this contained by then.
Right down to the east of Southern California.
Monday at 4:20 p.m.
situation. But it's still going to have enough push to it with northeast winds tonight and tomorrow morning feeding into the area of low pressure. But thank goodness it's way out to sea, about 800 miles west of San Diego. Now, this time last week, I was hoping as the low kind of moved in our direction, it would give us a chance of some scattered showers. I don't think that's going to happen now, but it will be moving a little bit to the south, maybe coming in over northern Baja, and that is going to change the weather across Southern California beautifully. All right, let's go to the 7-day forecast. Here it is. Red flag remains with fire danger. Winds northeast through the canyons, 35, gusts to 45, maybe a little bit higher early in the morning, but not a lot of.
High of 69 degrees.
Another push of Santa Ana winds, about the same, 35 to 40 for a short period of time Wednesday morning. And then I think we'll see a dramatic change. The winds will start backing off. And Thursday, this event will be completely over. And
great.
This on Friday and Saturday, even a few clouds coming into Southern California. No rain, but look how cold it is. High temperatures Friday in the valleys. The afternoon high.
I think they've gotten up into like 30% containment today.
Coming out of that big high off the coast of San Francisco. In the mountain areas, 42, 44, really cold at night, down into the mid to upper teens. We keep that going as we head to the weekend, going to Big Bear, 42, 44.
That's what they need in order to be able to deal with these fires. They need. The winds apparently are not going to be too fast overnight tonight and tomorrow. So maybe they can continue with the air support. That was one of the big things when we saw these 70, 80 mile per hour winds last week. They didn't have air support that grounded all the helicopters to be able to dump fire retardant and water on the fires. Grounded the airplanes to be able to do the dumps. Refill the reservoirs. Here's Tommy Tuberville on with Newsmax.
Why should other states be bailing out California for choosing the wrong people to run their state?
We shouldn't be. They got 40 million people in that state, and they voting these imbeciles in office. And they continue to do it. And it's just a very small part of them in that state that's doing it. If you go to California, you run into a lot of Republicans, a lot of good people, and I hate it for them. But they are just overwhelmed by these inner city woke policies with the people that vote for them. And I don't mind sending them some money, but unless they show that they're going to change their ways and get back to building dams and storing water, doing the maintenance with the brush and the trees and everything that everybody else does in the country, and they refuse to do it, they don't deserve anything, to be honest with you, unless they show us they're going to make some changes, Chris.
Why should other states...
Several points to make here. First of all, as clinically pointed out in the chat, California is one of 4 states that gives more back to the federal government than they take out. Those states are Texas, Illinois, New York, and California, number 1 and 2 of the most money that they give to the federal government, i.e. the rest of the states are living off of California. He's talking about imbeciles in government, but California ranks ahead of Alabama in every single category, from education to access to health care, quality of life, infant mortality. California dominates Alabama, which I assure you, having been a resident of the state, is not always at the bottom, but always within like the top 4 or 5. But they're not usually 50th. Now, we did do a story on the TV station when I worked there that said that Alabama ranked 53rd in the country in reading, and I laughed my ass off about that. Because I was like, even if you're counting the territories, we have more territories than that. So I have no idea where 53 in the country came from. but it made me giggle. Apparently, Mike Johnson saying that they might put conditions on aid sent to California. Hold on, I got that clip. Yeah, here we go. This is Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, saying we might need to condition aid to California.
California without any conditions at all.
I think we've got to have a serious conversation about that. Obviously, there's been water resource mismanagement, forest management mistakes, all sorts of problems. And it does come down to leadership, and it appears to us that state and local leaders were derelict in their duty in many respects. So that's something that has to be factored in. I think there should probably be conditions on that aid. That's my personal view. We'll see what the consensus is. I haven't had a chance to socialize that with any of the members over the weekend because we've all been very busy, but it'll be part of the discussion for sure.
What about the debt limit increase? What about tying the debt limit increase to it?
There's some discussion about that, but we'll see where it goes.
Representative Jared Marskowitz says that the idea that they would tie it to the debt limit increase just shows that Mike Johnson does not have the votes within his own caucus and will need Democratic votes. So he's wanting to hold them hostage with money for California. Now, one of the things that I talked about with several of the dumb fucks on Twitter today was someone said to me that in the last 40 years they had uniparty rule in California. And boy, did I get blocked after I pointed out in the last 40 years, California has had a governor that was Republican more than Democrat. Thank you. 24 of the last 40 years in California, they have had a Republican governor. Just like, nationally, we've had Republicans more often than not in my goddamn lifetime, and everything fucking sucks, but they blame the Democrats. It's really weird. Shortly, we're going to be able to read the report about Hunter Biden's gigantic schlong. The DOJ, I don't know that Hunter Schlong will make an appearance in the report, but the special counsel is set to release their report on Hunter Biden.
We're following some breaking news. The Justice Department has released special counsel David Weiss.
Oh, they've released it.
Into his investigations into Hunter Biden. CBS News Justice Department reporter Rob Legary joins us now. So this is the investigation into both the gun charges and the tax case. Hunter was obviously pardoned by his father, President Biden, last month. But what I found really interesting in what the parts of the report that I've read so far is it's pretty scathing into the president's comments that he made about sort of the politicization of the Justice Department. What do the reports say about that?
Yeah, hey, Lindsay, good evening. So to your point, when President Biden pardoned his son, he alleged that the investigation into his son's actions, particularly a gun investigation about illegally applying for a gun license under the influence of drugs, and tax evasion in California. Both of those cases the president alleged were, quote, raw politics. Well, the special counsel tonight in his report submitted to the attorney general takes those criticisms of the sitting president head on, alleging that such claims impugn the dignity of special counsel employees and Justice Department employees, and said, quote, they are wrong. And so he's really taking the criticisms of the president head on here and defends his prosecutorial decisions. You'll remember the special counsel came under criticism from both Republicans and Democrats for various aspects of his investigation. Here he explains that he adhered to what he says are the Justice Department's principles of federal prosecution and stands by all of his decisions.
What do the reports say about the gun tax and gun charges against Biden?
Right. Well, he does list out, and again, we're still reading through this, but the special counsel does list out all. Yeah.
I know, Flash. It's disgusting.
It's shorter. We have a lot of appendices to go through as well. But what we do know in his defense of both charges is that both indictments against the president's son, Hunter, is that he lists out the evidence that led to the charges. Importantly, in a lot of these reports from special counsels to the attorney general, which we may be getting more in the next few days, the investigators have to explain why they decided to do these things. They have to tell.
I would totally be behind Hunter if he didn't have like the stupidest voice. If he had like a manly, girthy, deep voice. But he talks like this and he sounds like a real stupid fuck. So like I'm not behind him. Or otherwise I would totally run for president as a libertarian, Hunter.
Tell the attorney general, I decided to bring these charges, which are in public court records, because of the evidence, and then list the evidence again and summarize it as
his voice does not match his face.
Charges. The special counsel says that both led to indictments, and then says the guilty plea on the guilty conviction by a jury in Delaware on the gun case, and then the guilty plea on the tax evasion charge in California are evidence that those cases were properly brought.
Yeah, one of the pages simply says, I prosecuted the 2 cases against Mr. Biden because he broke the law. All right, there's a lot of news in your world. I want to
No, you prosecuted him because he broke the law and he's the president's son, and it was a political, like, I don't want to call it a witch hunt or anything. I don't give a shit that they prosecuted Hunter Biden. I believe that people that serve in our government and their families should be held to a higher standard. I really don't give a shit. But it is the double standard that Republicans don't act that way. It's the double standard I just find totally appalling. And then they act like they're the ones being persecuted and shit. It's fucking weird. The judge has ruled that the DOJ can release Jack Smith's final report on his January 6th case against Trump. It's happening just in the last couple hours. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, who dismissed Trump's classified documents case, has ruled that the Justice Department can publicly release Volume 1 of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report covering his election interference case against Trump, but is reserving ruling on whether the DOJ can make Volume 2 on the classified documents case available to congressional leadership for review. Cannon has scheduled a hearing on that matter for January 17th, 3 days before Trump's inauguration. Cannon last week issued an injunction temporarily blocking the release of the entire report. Both the first volume on the January 6th case and the second volume on the classified documents case of the Justice Department appeared poised to publicly release the report. Attorney General Merrick Garland had vowed to release the classified documents volume to top members of Congress and to publicly release the election interference volume. Trump's former co-defendants in his classified documents case, longtime aide Walt Nauta and staffer Carlos D'Olivier, had sought to block the release of both reports, but the DOJ attested in a filing over the weekend that Volume 1 has no bearing on the evidence or charges related to Nauta or D'Olivier in their ongoing case. In a filing overnight prior to Cannon's ruling, lawyers for Nauta and D'Olivier again asked Cannon to extend her order blocking the release of Smith's entire final report and to hold a hearing about permanently prohibiting the report's release. Journalists are going to have a lot of reports to read over the next few days. Speaking of January 6th and election interference, over on the state level, Bonnie Willis in Georgia, who had brought the election interference case against Trump, is being asked to go in front of the Georgia Senate.
State senators will continue to focus on Fulton County District Attorney Bonnie Willis as the new legislative session gets underway. A heated debate took place on the Senate floor Monday before the Republican-led Senate voted to continue investigating Willis in connection with the 2020 election interference case. The vote was along party lines, with Democrats calling it a waste of time. Republicans insist there's still work to be done.
Was there a timing reason to do this on the first day? Was there something in the process that led to
This is the first day of the legislature?
We wanted continuity between last session and this session. We wanted the committee on assignments to be able to go ahead and populate that committee so the committee can begin their work. As you know, we were delayed through a massive chunk of last year due to the court fight.
We have no business trying to micromanage prosecutor's office. If Fulton County has an issue with what was taking place, they need to address that. That's their purview to do that. That's not the purview of the General Assembly. It never has been and is a complete waste of time.
Last month, a Fulton County Superior Court judge gave Willis until today to respond to an order requiring her to honor a subpoena to testify before the state Senate committee.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Tomorrow, 8 a.m., because I'm a glutton for punishment, because you guys requested it, we're going to be here for Trump's cabinet picks. Shelly, good evening. I don't know. I'd hire him. I'd hire him to read my audiobook. Tomorrow at 8 a.m., we're kicking it off. First day of confirmation hearings. Energy Flow, good evening. Tomorrow, the big daddy is Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth for the DOD. His confirmation hearing is tomorrow at 9:30. We've got a couple others. I think Kristi Noem might be tomorrow. Several others are going to follow on Wednesday, such as Pam Bondi for Attorney General. We don't have some of the craziest picks like RFK Jr., Kash Patel, and Tulsi Gabbard. They haven't been scheduled yet, so they might be next week. We're kicking it off tomorrow with a big one, Pete Hegseth. So join us. I'm going to take to the stream sometime around 8 o'clock. If it's not exactly 8 o'clock, excuse me. I'm not a morning person. Confirmation hearings start at 9 o'clock. We're going to try to get some C-SPAN calls in beforehand. Let's take a look at some of the cabinet picks that we're going to be experiencing hearings for over the next few days.
This time next week, Donald Trump will be a couple of hours into his second term as president. And more than a dozen of his cabinet picks will be on Capitol Hill beginning tomorrow for the start of confirmation hearings. Trump's controversial pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, will really be the first one to undergo the process. His confirmation hearings begin tomorrow. Several Democrats have raised concerns.
You just said that.
As they look to gain more insight into his past, including reports of an alleged sexual assault, excessive drinking, and financial mismanagement of veterans organizations he ran. And there are questions as to whether all members of the Senate Armed Services Committee will have access to an FBI probe into the former Fox News host. Notably on Wednesday, Trump's picks for Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Attorney General Pam Bondi will be
8 Eastern is in 5 a.m. Western time.
Take a peek.
Specific time.
Republican Commerce Chair Elise Stefanik, who was tapped as Trump's pick for U.S. Ambassador to the UN, will have her turn. CBS News political reporter Shauna Mizell is following the president-elect from West Palm Beach, Florida. Shauna, how does the Trump administration expect the process to go in terms of all of his picks?
Hey, Lindsay, it's great to be with you this afternoon. I think that really depends on just which nominee you're talking about, right? And so Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard might not have as smooth as a process of someone like Marco Rubio or Doug Burgum or even Pam Bondi, who Trump actually tapped to be AG after replacing and withdrawing that nomination from Matt Gaetz, who had a lot of controversy surrounding him.
So the president-elect is personally...
So yeah, I got him a little mixed up. Tomorrow we get Doug Collins, Pete Hegseth, and Doug Burgum. On the 15th, Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, Pam Bondi. On the 16th, that's Pam Bondi Day 2. Lee Zeldin's the big one we got that day. He is pretty goddamn crazy. Tapped ahead, the EPA, Elise Stefanik, who could be my Republican mommy, you never know. for UN ambassador. Once again, some of the most outrageous picks not set for hearings this week.
Lobbied heavily for Pete Hegseth. We know that his nomination at one point was in danger, and then sort of the whole of the MAGA movement jumped in to sort of salvage it. Has it worked? Does he have enough support right now?
Well, that is the exact question that we're all going to be following very closely this week. Trump really has been very supportive of Pete Hegseth. He encouraged him to stay in the fight amid all of the controversy surrounding him. As you mentioned earlier, there were allegations of him having a problem with drinking, mismanaging funds related to the work he did for veterans previously, as well as his comments about women in combat. And that could really be a sticking point for one key senator, Senator Joni Ernst. Now, Ernst is a combat veteran and a woman herself. Now, we have seen Pete.
That could be a problem for one specific senator, Senator Joni Ernst.
You have reached the office of Senator Joni Ernst. Please leave a message.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Good evening, Senator Ernst. This is JustinFREAKIN, the YouTube Twitch personality. I've called you a few times in the past. We were covering the confirmation hearings that are going to be taking place this week. We know that Pete Hegseth going to be going in front of a Senate, the Armed Services Committee tomorrow for his confirmation hearing, and they were talking about how he might have a hard time with you. I'm begging you, Senator Ernst. Pete Hegseth is a dumb fuck and has no business being the Secretary of Defense. Please vote against this numbskull. And hey, if you are free in the next couple of weeks and you might want to get together for a drink or something, I'm still looking for a GOP mommy, and I find you quite attractive. So if you want to give me a call back, the number is 917-830-4359. This is once again JustinFREAKIN from the Troll Patrol. Always a pleasure talking to you. Have a great evening, Senator Ernst. I'm wondering how many times I can call her before I get the feds at my door. We're up to like 4 now. The office is bound to know who I am.
Hegseth kind of walked those comments back since then. And according to our latest CBS News tracker from our colleagues up on Capitol Hill, Hegseth has gotten a committal from 21 Republican senators, but there's a 53 majority in Congress with Republicans holding that majority, and he cannot afford to lose more than 2 votes if he wants to sail through.
Sean, I got to ask you, a federal judge just cleared the way for the release of special counsel Jack Smith's report on Trump's 2020 election interference case. Tell us what happened and why Trump's team is still so opposed to this, given the fact that the case has been dismissed.
That's right. Judge Eileen Cannon here in Florida cleared the way for this part of Jack Smith's report to be released. Now,
Don't tell me she's not a hottie.
The other
Come on.
will not be released because it has to do with his co-defendants. But Trump's team
Senator Ernst has it going on.
really worked to keep this report under wraps. And it really has to do with an attack on Jack Smith, his character. And Trump said he should have never been appointed to that post, actually. And so in a Truth Social post that the president-elect put out yesterday,
Quesadilla, good evening.
Report should even see the light of day, given that he said it was based on a, quote, witch hunt.
Shauna Mizell, thank you.
Do you have Prometheus? Good evening. It's my choice. I see Maynard, but I feel like I've got Maynard too many times. Let's see if I can find a. Let me see if I can find a socks. I couldn't find a socks. I don't see a socks. I don't see a Smokey. You get a Maynard. Oh, socks is down there. He just walked in from the kitchen. He saw me coming and pulled an evasive maneuver, went under the bed. He's camera shy. He doesn't like getting on camera. I think my phone call to Senator Ernst was convincing. I bet she's going to be a no vote. I bet she's going to be a no vote on Pete Hegseth. Dip, good evening. Welcome in, my friend. Thank you for the resub. Thank you to Media Winch for the resub earlier. You missed me calling Senator Joni Ernst again. One of these days, I'm gonna hook up with Senator Ernst. Maybe we'll get to go on a date and do it on camera and shit. We'll do it on stream. I will stream my date with Senator Joni Ernst. We are 1 week away from the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. Are you guys excited? I'm going to be here with you. Oh, it's going to be weird. It's going to be very weird. I'm going to be here with you for the inauguration 1 week from today. Melania says she's got some big plans.
So in
light one up, tip one back.
Be inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States.
We spoke with First Lady Melania Trump about what we can expect from her over the next 4 years. Take a look.
Madam First Lady, it's great to see you again. Thank you for sitting down with us to talk about your new documentary.
Thank you for having me. It's an exciting time.
It is. We were thrilled to hear that this was coming out. I want to know details, why you decided to do this, and what will it be like?
Well, the book was such a success.
The book?
I'm very proud, and I get so many messages and letters how they enjoy the book, and they would love, my fans and people would love to hear more.
I think TikTok is gone.
So I had an idea to...
I can't believe it. I didn't think it was going to happen.
To make a film.
Yeah, kind of thought the Supreme Court was going to step in.
Incredible.
It looks like it's gone.
Easy. And I told my agent, I have this idea, so please, go out and make a deal for me. We started the production in November, and we are shooting right now, so it's a day-to-day life, what I'm doing, what kind of responsibilities I have. People, they don't really know, and they will see it. It's day-to-day, from transition team to moving to the White House, packing, establishing my team, the First Lady office.
I feel like I've seen her hoo-hoo, haven't I?
To the White House, what it takes to make the residents your...
Have I not seen her pussy already?
The people that you need.
So it's a snapshot of what it takes to move back into the White House. I don't think a First Lady has ever done this.
Not that I know, of course.
Behind the scenes, what is it like when you're moving back in the White House? Are you...
Man, what you don't know.
The difference is I know where I will be going. I know the rooms where we will be living. I know the process.
Specifically, like there was that one, she's got like that piece of sheer over her. Her tits are out. And she's like, it's covering her pussy, but like, you see her pussy because it's see-through. Pretty sure.
First time was challenging. We didn't have much of the information. The information was upheld for us from previous administration.
Lenny, how old is Barron?
I have the plans. I could move in. I already packed. I already selected the furniture that needs to go in. So it's very different transition this time, second time around.
Will you decorate it exactly like it was before, or?
I think there's your answer.
A bit of changes, not much.
How have the Bidens been? Have they been accommodating, and are they still living there?
They're still living there, and they will be out on January 20. So what happened is on January 20, the transition team has only 5 hours to move Biden's out and to move us in. So everything needs to be planned to the minute.
And when you were decorating the White House for Barron, I remember in the book you talked about how the Obamas, they had certain rooms that were pink for the girls, and you wanted to make them appropriate for Barron. What is it like now? Obviously he'll have a bedroom there, but he's an adult, he's in college now. Will he be spending a lot of time there as well?
I think he will come and visit, yes.
Will he bring his friends? Is it fun? Does he feel comfortable to bring friends?
Yeah, whatever he would like to do, yes. You know, I feel that as a children, we have them till they are like 18, 19 years old. We teach them, we guide them, and then we give them the wings to fly. And I always respect Barron's yes and no and what he likes to do, where he would like to be.
Do you feel like you're in a different space now than you were 8 years ago?
I feel I was always me the first time as well. I just feel that people didn't accept me, maybe. They didn't understand me the way maybe they do now. And
oh no, man, we still don't understand you. I mean, I think we understand you.
See me as
Mr. Sprunk
of the president, but I'm standing on my own 2 feet, independent. I have my own thoughts.
I'm surprised we've seen her as much as we have.
I don't always agree what my husband is saying or doing, and that's okay.
Are you able to tell him when you disagree?
I gave him my advice, and sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't, and that's okay.
And where will you be spending most of your time? In the White House, Palm Beach, here in New York?
I will be in the White House, and you know, when I need to be in New York, I will be in New York. When I need to be in Palm Beach, I will be in Palm Beach. But my first priority is, you know, to be a mom, to be a first lady, to be a wife. And once we are in on January 20, it's you serve the country.
First 100 days, what will that look like for you? What are you looking forward to?
A shit show. I'm not going to make you sit through the whole thing. What if they have Terminators? Are you guys ready for a rockin' concert that we're going to have next week? You know how much I love live music. For Live Music Monday next week, we get the Village People and Kid Rock. Donald Trump made the Village People great again for conservatives, and now the 1970s disco group will be featured during his inauguration weekend along with Kid Rock and Billy Ray Cyrus. Trump is personally picking his celebration's musical acts to represent his eclectic tastes. An inauguration official tells Axios the Village People earned a special place in MAGA world because of their hit YMCA inspired what's now known as the Trump Dance. The group, whose song was played at Trump rallies throughout the 2024 campaign, will perform at the president-elect's victory rally on Sunday at Capital One Arena in D.C. Cyrus will also perform at the rally, as will Kid Rock, who was featured at the Republican National Convention last summer in Milwaukee. Country singer Jason Aldean, whose 2023 hit Try That in a Small Town was an unofficial MAGA anthem during Trump's campaign, will play at the inaugural ball on Monday, hours after Trump is sworn in. Rascal Flatts, which broke through with their 2006 cover of Life is a Highway, is also on the ball's run of a show. As reported previously, singer Carrie Underwood is scheduled to sing America the Beautiful at the inauguration. Opera singer Christopher Machio will sing the national anthem, and Lee Greenwood will perform Proud to Be American, Trump's walk-on song. The Double Dick Suck Dance. I don't think any of them care about getting paid. I don't think it's about getting paid for them. Like, they're going to get paid by grifting off of Trump's followers. They'll sell T-shirts and CDs and commemorative blah, blah, blah off of the whole thing. They've got their own ways of monetizing it. Speaking of grifters, I can't believe that this man is going to make a political comeback. Andrew Cuomo apparently leading in polls about the mayoral race in New York City, despite not even being in the race.
New York governor back in the headlines today. A new poll showing Andrew Cuomo leading the pack. Should he jump into the race for New York City mayor?
Fox 8's Morgan Mackay joins us live from the newsroom. Morgan, reporters asked Mayor Adams about that poll today. What did he have to say?
Well, Steve and Natasha, these rumors have been swirling for over a year now whether or not former Governor Andrew Cuomo will jump in the race for mayor. And if he was looking for a sign, is this poll the sign? Well, Mayor Eric Adams came prepared for the question today and said he remembers a different Andrew at this time in the race in 2021.
We're in January. So in February, Andrew was kicking my rear. And you know what? We don't say Mayor Yang. We say Mayor Adams. So
Yang.
Polls don't make mayors. People do.
Oh.
Newest poll
I thought he said Cuomo was kicking his ass. I was like, Cuomo was in the race for mayor? No, he meant Andrew Yang. Quesadilla, good evening. No, Andrew Yang was leading the poll.
Was kicking my rear.
I hate this man.
You know what? We don't say Mayor Yang. We say Mayor Adams. So
we say indicted Adams.
Mayors, people do.
Now, in this newest poll conducted by Progressive Democrats of America, it shows 32% of those polled picked Cuomo as their favorite candidate. Following Cuomo is former City Comptroller Scott Stringer with 10%, then current City Comptroller Brad Lander with about 8% support. State Senator Jessica Ramos with 7%, and trailing behind is Mayor Adams and State Assembly member Zoran Mondani tied at 6%. Now, this poll was conducted in December, and although the primary is still about 5.
You know what I'm going to say, right? That dude's mustache. Check that shit out. What a pimp mustache.
5 months away, it does show that name recognition could still go a long way for the former governor, despite some of the scandals that rocked his administration. Cuomo resigned in 2021 following criticism of his handling of COVID deaths in nursing homes, and after multiple women came forward to accuse him of sexual harassment.
A cock broom.
Cuomo has been eyeing the seat, especially after Adams was indicted. Adams, however, is gearing up for a potential run against Cuomo, even mentioning recently that he will remind voters who signed the state's controversial bail reform laws.
I'm going to connect with people the way I do. No one is going to outwork me.
Flash, the rumor is that she is preparing to either run against Chuck Schumer or run for governor against Kathy Hochul.
I am so committed authentically to New Yorkers. They connect with me. I went through some difficult hurdles. It's amazing I'm still in it.
Now,
it is amazing
whether he will attend President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration next week. We asked him again today if he plans to go, and he said he may be in D.C. over the weekend for separate events associated with honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and said he's still considering it. Steve and Natasha?
Well, can't believe if we have to talk about Cuomo anymore. I thought he was gone. I did not because at the time that I started doing the Troll Patrol, he was gearing up to be a national figure. He thought he was gonna be in the presidency picture come 2024. Socialist Don, good evening. And then I got to watch his downfall. I'm like, now we don't have to talk about Cuomo anymore. But no, this motherfucker's going to make a comeback. Biden met with Benjamin Netanyahu earlier today. He says he is on the brink of a ceasefire agreement between Hamas and Israel.
On the war between Israel and Hamas, we're on the brink of a proposal that I laid out in detail months ago, finally coming to fruition. I have learned in many years of public service to never, 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 ever give up. So I spoke to Prime Minister of Israel yesterday. I spoke to Amir.
Prime Minister Benjamin. Seriously, god damn.
Qatar today. I look forward to speaking with President Sisi soon. We're pressing hard to close this. The deal we have structured would free the hostages, halt the fighting, provide security to Israel, and allow us to significantly surge humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians who suffered terribly in this war that Hamas started. They've been through hell.
There ain't no goddamn chance that they're going to get a ceasefire in the next week. It's not going to happen before he leaves office. Benjamin Netanyahu is like Lucy with the goddamn football, and Biden's just going to run up and try to kick it again and get it yanked out. Llama, good evening. I guess, like, Trump's going to come in. They're just going to level the West Bank and Gaza. Completely unrestricted, unrestrained. And then Trump is going to be like, oh, we have a ceasefire deal now. Nobody's alive on the other side. That's kind of what I think is going to happen.
So many innocent people have been killed. So many communities have been destroyed. The Palestinian people deserve peace and the right to determine their own futures. Israel deserves peace and real security. And the hostages and their families deserve to be reunited. And so we're working urgently to close this deal.
Oh, totally, Ducky, totally. And apparently he is looking into purchasing the hotel in D.C. again. So, like, he sold it after he left office. He wants to purchase it again because it's a money laundering front. So other countries can come in, they can buy X amount of rooms in the hotel, blah, blah, blah. Don't even have to stay there. It's probably a shit-ass hotel. South Africa, Iran, and like Venezuela are the countries that have said they'll stand up to the U.S. We've got to do something. Like the people of Belgium who are upset over a proposed pension reform bill. Motherfuckers took to the streets.
Protesters took to the streets of Brussels to demonstrate against possible pension reforms. Around 30,000 people marched through the streets of Belgium's capital as part of a nationwide strike. The strike impacted public transportation as well as air and rail traffic and led to the closure of schools. The controversial reforms are being discussed by parties trying to form a new government following last June's election. Talks aimed at forming a coalition have dragged on for months without any real progress. The five parties at the table continue to disagree on government finances and the contested pension reforms.
Il s'agit aujourd'hui, en tout cas, un signal d'alarme qui est lancé vers les négociateurs de ce gouvernement, puisque selon...
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry they didn't do voiceover there.
Il s'agit aujourd'hui...
This is a wake-up call to the government negotiators.
Qui est lancé vers les négociateurs de ce...
Because according to the information we are hearing,
informations que nous entendons,
very concrete measures are being taken with regard to pensions, which will have an impact on all the workers in this country, particularly on the railway workers whom I represent, since the preferential schemes, as they are called, will be abolished, resulting in longer careers and having a financial impact on the total amount of pensioners. Oh, yeah, that's what I was just thinking as we were watching that. Like, they're going to cut our Social Security, and we're not going to be in the streets like that. And it's happening. It's possibly like next month. The talks are already ongoing. I think this might be the apartment building that garnered a lot of attention back in the fall, maybe back over in the summer as we were gearing up for the presidential election. Right-wingers claim that a Venezuelan gang had taken it over and it was just a slumlord that was bullshitting in court documents. I believe that is this apartment building I'm getting ready to tell you about.
In Aurora, the city is going to begin shutting down the Edge at Lowry apartment complex off 12th and Dallas. Today we learned that a judge granted an emergency order to close the building. Aurora City Attorney Pete Schulte confirmed the complex will close by mid-February. That closure is going to affect about 60 apartments. The city says it will first put together a plan to evaluate the complex to find out who's living there legally and who isn't. They will then offer relocation assistance to anyone who is being forced to leave.
I think the mere fact that we have convened so many press conferences about this location speaks volumes about wild steps we have taken. When you look at the impact on the residents, the impact has been absolutely traumatic.
This complex, of course, has been at the center of multiple crime scenes and reports of Venezuelan gang activity. Just in the last month, 2 people were kidnapped, tied up, robbed, and tortured for several hours before being released. Today we learned that 9 people are facing charges in that crime, all of them currently being held.
God damn!
Aurora police also have arrest warrants out for 3 more people who they believe were involved.
Well, okay, the content warning for this one, this is probably the most graphic video we're going to be watching tonight. If you have a weak constitution, this sort of thing, give us about 10 minutes and we'll be back to like the bullshit. This is going to make you incredibly pissed off. Yet no mention of the landlord, Shelley. Thank you for pointing that out, because we mentioned it. It was like the first thing that came to our mind. No mention of the landlord from the news agency. Or how we got to the situation where the residents are in such an unsafe circumstance. This happened in St. Louis. A man called the police for assistance. He had been shot. And what happens next is going to piss you off.
Video obtained by First Alert 4 Investigate shows the moments 2 former St. Louis cops walked away from a man they'd found in Forest Park. He was shot in the head, but still alive. The officers never tried to help, call for backup, or make sure that other people were safe. Complaints filed against them by the Attorney General's office, calling what they did an act of vileness and depravity. It's a case that we first told you back in November. Now, our chief investigative reporter, Lauren Traeger, is showing us the video tonight that's never been seen publicly, and we do want to warn you, some of what you may see and hear may be disturbing.
At least they didn't shoot him again.
5 seconds is the time it takes for 2 officers to find what they've been called to look for.
Damn, he right there. Somebody right there. Swear to God. No, he ain't dead. He alive.
September 10th, 2023, still sunny in Forest Park at 6:20 p.m. A man lying on the ground, shot, but still breathing.
He shoot himself in the evening? I don't know.
That's now former SLMPD officer Austin Frazier. He is not wearing a camera. It's his partner, Ty Warrens, that is rolling. Together, they make a decision.
We better take this motherfucker down. We ain't taking this shit. I ain't taking 30 minutes. Let's cruise around and come back.
I get off in 30 minutes.
Changing lives forever. Laughing as they walk away from a person and the public who needed them to protect and serve.
It's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
Former St. Louis County Chief Tim Fitch, now a police consultant, had been appalled when we'd first shown him disciplinary complaint documents filed by Missouri's Attorney General, which accuse Warren and Frazier of what the state calls a, quote, reckless disregard for the safety of the public and another person. And now we've shown Fitch the officer's body camera videos obtained through a public records request.
Certainly, it's even more disturbing just watching the video.
St. Louis police had been called to Forest Park after a call from a person who said they were going to take their own life. Later learning it was 29-year-old Urayuan Rodriguez Rivera. Disciplinary complaint documents say Frazier and Warren arrived on scene and located the man lying under a tree, shot in the head. Neither attempted to render any assistance, neither requested medical assistance, and neither, complaint documents say, attempted to locate a firearm.
Let's cruise around and come back.
Instead, they simply leave, and Warren turns.
Never tried to locate a firearm in a public park where kids could be playing. Did nothing about a dying body that children could come across.
Off his camera. But about 10 minutes later, they come back to Forest Park and pretend they hadn't already been there.
522 priority.
Go ahead.
Have EMS respond for one subject, not conscious but breathing, barely.
A third responding officer immediately
Oh my God, you could hear him gargling in the background.
calls in the scene.
Yeah, he's snoring.
Assessing the wounds. The man's breathing so agonizing, it's like a gasping for air.
Where's the gun at?
That third officer immediately notices something isn't right.
You got a gun? Can't see one.
As others arrive, they know to secure the perimeter.
Hey, start it way up there and do the whole thing.
Throughout several officers' body camera videos, you see them putting up yellow crime scene tape.
Priority with privacy curtains. We're in a very exposed area of Forest Park.
Calling to block the victim from view in the busy park and keep others away.
Got a pulse still?
They follow protocol and attempt to help.
Super weak, but I feel it.
Even when they know it's bad.
There's not much we can do. Shoot. Yeah, we're going.
Maybe 10 minutes ago there could have been something you could do.
They do their jobs well.
Guy down there by the tree, see that gunshot wound through and through. Labored breathing.
EMS officials take Urayuan to the hospital, but he does not survive.
You've got to wonder if they would have done something right then and there, could he have survived? Certainly when you turn your back and walk away, the chances of that person surviving is going down dramatically by the second.
To you, is it just so wrong on its face?
Yes, absolutely. That's not how most officers would respond to a call like that.
In fact, Fitch says he can think of only one thing.
I think it's just pure laziness is what it was.
On video this time, Warren and Frazier walk away again, leaving their fellow officers to handle it now.
Wow.
Warren and Frazier just left.
Why?
I don't know.
Nearly every officer acknowledges the obvious. How is it a suicide with no gun?
ECU is here, so he probably already has the gun.
Nope, no gun. The gun's gone.
What do you mean gun's gone?
The gun is gone. So he shot himself, somebody came over and took his shit.
I mean,
Wouldn't shock me. Maybe somebody dumped him. You never know. I mean, St. Louis.
unless somebody picked it up and chucked it somewhere.
Ultimately, the case was ruled a suicide. Urayuan had a history of suicidal ideations and had left notes of intent. Still, Fitch says it's very concerning.
But where was the fucking gun?
No one knows where that gun is, possibly left unsecured by Frazier and Warren.
That's something that they should have done and they didn't do.
Did they endanger the safety of other people?
Quite possibly, by not securing that firearm, and they certainly could have endangered the life of the individual.
St. Louis police declined to provide an interview for this story, saying
I bet.
they can't comment on specific personnel matters, but writing that, quote, appropriate disciplinary action will be taken if an officer is found to have violated policies. Urayuan's mother lives in Puerto Rico. She cannot believe what our reports have been revealing, telling us in a text message it was a, quote, lack of humanity, saying more, quote, I hope the full weight of the law falls on these
It won't.
Police officers.
Unfortunately,
the state has sought to discipline their peace officer licenses, and Fitch says a lawsuit is possible, but criminal charges, he says, are very unlikely.
They just didn't act at all, which is certainly shameful, but criminal, probably not.
No, you ain't did. You lied.
Wow.
Camera video, which we should appreciate, Fitch says. The video that told the whole story.
No. Not criminal? Are you telling me that's not criminal? No. They interfered with an active, investigation. They might have destroyed evidence, tampering with evidence. Fucking, I can name several things they did that were criminal.
Video that's there to protect the officers and also the public.
A supervisor reviewing the body camera video was the one that discovered that it wasn't handled properly and did initiate an investigation. And that's the way it's supposed to work.
I'm amazed that the supervisor initiated an investigation.
That's what truly happened.
Let's cruise around and come back.
Capturing what otherwise concealed the inactions of 2 officers.
Now, regarding that missing gun, police tell us their investigation into the stolen firearm remains ongoing, and they are actively monitoring their database to see if it is being used in any crimes. To date, there have been no hits to that database. The police officers, we're told, have left the department not long after this incident last year. They have not responded to our inquiries to talk to them. Warren has already lost his Missouri peace officer's license. Frazier has a hearing regarding his license tomorrow morning. We will certainly keep tracking that. I'm Lauren Traeger. First Alert 4 investigates.
Oh, I do not believe that they should be allowed to turn off their body cameras at all. They should always be filming. But hey, the body cameras, here's one of the wild things is like, yeah, police reform, police accountability agencies have advocated for body cameras, but no, it's like prosecutors have advocated for body cams so that they have evidence to, like, that's the reason why they have body cams now, is because prosecutors have advocated for them because they want the evidence to put away people. And I would say, and nobody wants to say this, that it's because like cops are so unreliable. It's better if they have the body camera footage to work off of in their cases. So, body camera makers too. You're exactly right, Flash. The people that make the gear for police departments. It's quite the lucrative business. Earlier today in Chicago, a bomb squad had to respond. Apparently found what they say was a real-looking gun.
Developing a residential building near Bronzeville is evacuated after reports of explosives inside one of the units.
And WGN's Angelica Sanchez is now live with more on that. Angelica.
Well, the building was given the all clear and residents have been allowed back inside. We spoke with the contractor that called police after she stumbled across what looked like very real explosives. She tells us once she saw those items, she could not walk away without calling authorities. We're learning that a man taken into custody is also connected to a disturbing incident from 2022.
It was a suitcase with explosives.
Anti-war machine, good evening.
And I Googled the pictures, and those didn't look like what I seen in real life. It's like military stuff. And I seen the rifle, a big rifle, by the window. So I was like, no, I'm going to call the police.
Melissa Caraway tells us she
So is this shit fake?
Heating and cooling. She was checking radiators inside units of 533 East 33rd Place in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood when she stumbled across what looks like a very real weapon and explosives.
I went to do the buildings, and I came across an apartment when I walked in, and I was checking the radiators because we have a scanner to check the radiators. And I'm supposed to just walk in and out and don't do nothing else. But I looked around and I seen the vision board with all these police badges and the firefighter hats.
She reached out to a few people who advised her to call police.
I pray it's not nothing, but I pray that I can stop it.
She showed officers these images, and the building was soon evacuated.
Watching TV, and then a knock on the door from the police, and to evacuate right away.
I was thinking props because I'm a broadcaster.
I just thought about the bombing in New Orleans, and I thought about the thing that happened in Vegas.
Sources tell WGN investigates the rifle is an airsoft gun and the explosives are fake. Our cameras were rolling as police took a man into custody. Sources tell us this is the same man who was fired from the Chicago Fire Department in 2022. A relative called police back then to say that he came home, made threats to shoot up the fire academy, gathered several guns, and left.
He's upset about being a fireman. Not sure if, well, I'll take it he didn't make it, but, oh no, he was terminated. So they say he's suicidal, depressed, he was terminated terminated from his employment today. He took a gun and fled, threatened to shoot up the fire academy. The officers had him at 3-1 in Indiana, and he took off in a blue Toyota Camry.
That call prompted a large police response. Officers found him 2 miles from the fire academy and took him into custody after a standoff involving the SWAT team. It does not appear the man was charged after that 2022 incident, and records show a man by that same name was hired by a different city agency months later. We're not identifying him or the city agency he currently works for. It's unclear if he will face any charges related to today's incident. Now, spokesman.
Well, it doesn't look like he did anything wrong. But it is kind of weird. But there's nothing wrong with being weird. Yeah, they were toys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like C4 doesn't just like say C4 in big red. That's why it seems like a prop.
This person for the city department that hired the man taken into custody today has not yet responded to questions about why he was able to get that job despite his history. Live on the city's south side, Angelica Sanchez, WGN News.
What history? If he was never charged with anything. Like, do you want him to not have do you want an unstable person to not have a job? I feel like this dude's getting railroaded. Well, I mean, like, they don't want to give any identifying information on him. I would assume, because, like, fuck, like, he might not have done anything wrong. Yeah, but that was like years ago, and I would say they've thrown it out on condition of he had to complete some shit. I would assume the motherfucker had to stay on the psych ward for a week. Definitely shouldn't have guns, but it was an airsoft gun. That's what they said, right? Airsoft. It was a pellet gun, okay. A family was having a cookout in their backyard yesterday, and then this happened.
This is News Channel 8 at 5 on
Alien.
Good evening. I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us. An afternoon family cookout was disrupted by 2 suspects trying to flee police.
They jumped a fence and almost landed on some children playing in a yard, and it was caught on camera. Our Polk County Bureau reporter Stacy DeSilva is joining us live from South Crystal Lake Drive in Lakeland. She has more on this. Stacy, the suspects really caused some chaos there.
Crystal Lake.
Yeah, that's right, Keith. We're told that these young suspects really ran amok throughout this neighborhood, jumping over fences like they had super.
They ran amok.
While police were on their tail. A family here was outside enjoying their day.
So my oldest nephew they were playing like kind of hide and seek behind the shed.
David Little says his family was spending their Sunday afternoon together, helping his in-laws prepare for renovations and grilling out. Then he says they started hearing things.
So we heard sirens. It sounded like they were kind of off in the distance. And then they got a little bit closer. And then I heard like the blast of one siren, like a police officer trying to catch somebody's attention to stop. And then we heard somebody yell, "Go, go, go, go."
Security video from the front yard shows 2 suspects running from police. Then the view from the backyard. The suspects scale the 6-foot-tall fence and run through the backyard, only missing Little's 2 nephews and 4-year-old son.
He was standing.
Look how slow the fucking cop is.
Right in about this area right here.
Video shows Little attempted to stop the suspects with a board, but they got away and jumped the fence. The fence hopping and running around resulted in, according to Lakeland police, the arrest of a 15-year-old suspect. The pair was being sought.
Oh, it was just a fucking kid.
You don't see it every day. It was nerve-wracking. I think it would have been less scary had the kids not been around, and then, like our wives and, our mother-in-law.
Yeah, the family really was shaken up, even though nobody was hurt. I'm told the kids are talking to their parents about what happened. The second suspect, by the way, has not been identified, according to Lakeland police. Reporting live in Lakeland, I'm Stacy DeSilva, 8 on your side.
Thank you.
Well, the suspects were kids. All right, a Texas man was apparently not a fan of Caitlin Clark, the basketball player, or was a fan. I don't know how these stalking things work, but he apparently drove up to Indianapolis to get him a piece of Caitlin Clark.
A Texas man is in the Marion County Jail this afternoon, charged with traveling to Indianapolis to stalk Fever star Caitlin Clark. Court documents outlined weeks of an X account obsessively tagging Clark in explicitly violent posts. CBS 4's Graves has been on this story since it broke. He joins us in studio now. And Eric, you've been told this suspect even tried to be at the same basketball game as Clark.
Was he from Fort Worth? What the fuck is going on in Fort Worth?
This is 55-year-old Michael Lewis. We found his X account with hundreds of tweets tagging Clark in just about the last month. Authorities say Lewis's behavior escalated in the last week, and they decided to make an arrest.
Since December, the X account RacerX2031
with a Jesus on it.
Fever star Caitlin Clark in posts. Court docs say it's connected to this man, Michael Lewis. As the posts have become more frequent in recent weeks, they've also become more sexual and at times violent, with some words not fit to be shown on TV.
Certainly when you look at the volume of posts.
Hold on, I want to see what some of those posts said. Do you know anything about me? Open up the word, then dummy. Gold shoes, love it. Caitlin Clark, my fave college QB, played for my fave coach. Caitlin Clark, loved John Harbaugh, loved Mike Tomlin. Can you guess my favorite college coach of all time? Caitlin Clark, if I could choose one girl to spend forever with, out of all the girls in the whole wide world, I would choose you. Caitlin Clark, are you watching game?
It's connected to this man, Michael Lewis. As the posts have become more frequent in recent weeks, they've also become more sexual and at times violent, with some words not fit to be shown on TV.
Certainly when you look at the volume of posts and you look at what we are alleging is certainly very aggressive posts.
Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says Pacers Sports and Entertainment alerted the authorities about the post when Lewis traveled from his Texas home to Indianapolis last week, posting at Caitlin Clark 22, "We're coming to you live from downtown Indy."
Investigators confirmed Lewis was in Indianapolis by his most recent posts on X. They tracked the IP address of these posts to here, the Hilton Garden Inn, right in downtown Indianapolis.
Mears says Lewis even bought Butler basketball tickets, where Clark has been known to attend. He posted,
"How the fuck does this motherfucker have the money to go stay at the nice-ass fucking Hilton and buy basketball tickets in this goddamn economy? This crazy-ass motherfucker got all the money in the world. How?"
Posted, "I'm getting tickets. I'm sitting behind the bench."
You have the steps of actually traveling from Texas to Indianapolis, trying to figure out where they can maybe potentially locate the victim. All of those things certainly raised a number of alarm bells.
The court documents say IMPD talked to Lewis at his downtown Indy hotel room on January 8th, questioning him about the post toward Clark. Lewis said this was all an imaginary relationship and a joke. Officers warned Lewis to think about what he's writing before posting it, but in the hours and days to follow, Lewis continued to tag Clark, with one post saying in part, FBI visited last night.
There was a conversation with law enforcement.
Yeah, that's an amazing voice.
Change in behavior.
That's when authorities decided to file charges against Lewis. He was arrested in the Sheraton Hotel just off the Circle. Mears says Caitlin Clark talked to Marion County Sheriff's Office investigators Saturday, saying she was fearful and had even changed her movement patterns to better protect herself.
You can tell from the probable cause affidavit that this has had a profound impact on her.
Oh, poor girl.
$50,000 surety bond. He's got a no contact order for Caitlin Clark and a stay away order for Gamebridge Fieldhouse and Hinkle Fieldhouse. Even another post could land him additional charges. He is due for an initial hearing in court tomorrow. We will be there. In the studio, I'm Eric Graves, CBS 4 News.
Thank goodness.
Fucking wow. I can't afford to be a cross state line stalker. Okay. This next story is about UFC fighter Khabib Nahasapina Pepalon. Was that racist? That was racist, wasn't it? I'm sorry, cancel Justin. I apologize. I condemn me.
He condemn.
Khabib ignored our flight attendant. MMA legend denies. Frontier Airlines. Fucking fuck. God damn it, Prometheus. Oh, how am I supposed to get through this without cursing? God damn it. Ah, fuck. I already fucked it up. I was naughty. I did deserve that punishment. Thank you. Frontier Airlines. Frontier Airlines is adamant they were not in the wrong when they booted UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov off a flight this weekend, claiming the 29-0 fighter ignored a flight attendant's instructions before takeoff. But team... make it even harder to read the story. Stick around, we got live music Monday coming up right afterwards. It's Byronic night tonight. Frontier Airlines. Line one up, tip one back. It's Byronic night because I let Byronic pick the artist. I technically left it up to all of chat, but Byronic is the only one that took me up on it. You will be happy and you will be very unhappy. You'll be very happy with one, very unhappy with the other. That's all I can say. Frontier Airlines is adamant they were not in the wrong when they booted UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov off a flight this weekend, claiming the 29-0 fighter ignored a flight attendant's instructions before takeoff. But TMZ Sports just spoke to someone close to Khabib who says it's simply false. First, Frontier's side of things, the airline says Khabib, who was seated in an exit row, failed to indicate that he was willing and able to assist in an event of... No fucking way. This is what this stems from. God. So he's seated in an exit row Mr. Nurmagomedov did not respond despite repeated attempts, which placed him in a non-compliance with FAA requirements. Instead of kicking him off the plane, the attendant gave the retired fighter two options: switch seats or deplane. The airline also added the video making the rounds on social media failed to capture this part of the incident.
It's not about the language.
Dude has brain damage. Leave him alone. Fair enough.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're either gonna have you switch your seat because my flight attendants are not allowing you to sit in the exit row, or you're gonna have to get off this plane and then we'll have to because they're not comfortable with you sitting in the emergency exit row. My flight attendants. And unfortunately, it is.
Just switch seats.
Yes, it is.
You guys, when I was checking, they asked me, do I know English? Yes, I said.
And they said yes. I understand that, but it's also off of their judgment. I'm not going to do this back and forth. I will call a supervisor. You can either take a different seat, or we can go ahead and escort you off the plane.
Yeah, just take a different seat.
Okay, I'll call a supervisor, and then we're going to have to rebook you for a different flight.
Bro, just change seats. That's all.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you just change seats? So now they got to pull them off the plane and everything. They don't mess around since 9/11. That's why I don't fly. I don't want to be mouthing off to no flight attendant. I mean, it was like, there was a whole bunch of nothing. Frontier also made it clear the decision to deplane the customer was in no way related to his ethnicity. Well, he didn't respond to the, yes, I'll help people in an event of an emergency. So they wanted him to either switch seats or get off the plane. And he was obstinate. So, oh, because they mentioned ethnicity, now you kind of think it's related to it. I didn't think it was about ethnicity until you brought it up, Frontier Air. We hit up Khabib's manager, Ali Ababazaz, who told... I'm sorry. Who told us Frontier's version of the story is fiction. It doesn't seem fiction. The video matched what they were saying. Adding his client insists he made it clear he was perfectly capable of helping if things went south. Lady who comes to me with questions was very rude from the very beginning, even though I speak very decent English and can understand everything and agreed to assist. She still insists on removing me from my seat. What was the base for that? Racial, national, or other one? I'm not sure, Nurmagomedov said in a statement on Sunday, but after 2 minutes of conversation, she called security and I deplaned from this aircraft. After an hour and a half, I boarded another airline, one, and left to my destination. I did my best to stay calm and respectful, as you can see on the video, but those crew members could do better next time and just be nice with clients. Oh no, I don't know. I mean, I get what the airline is saying. I was hoping somebody got punched. You hear UFC fighter in an incident, you really want somebody to get punched. Last few nights we've had videos about animals from the fire. We had the man last night that was reunited with Oreo, his puppy, that made me cry. It was so sweet. He bit the attendant's ear. Tonight we're going to hear about how Washington State doing its part, stepping up to take in animals that are in shelters causing overflows and have been displaced throughout the fires.
Good Sunday evening to you. Eric Thomas here in studio. The Seattle Humane Society, along with other groups in the area, taking in those pets to help relieve shelter space in LA County and find these animals a new home. And Cairo 7's Jake Chapman is live in Bellevue outside the Humane Society with more. As Jake, these cats and dogs will soon be available for adoption.
As early as Tuesday, Eric. Now all those cats and dogs, well, they have to go through some medical examinations here at the Seattle Humane Society in Bellevue before they can be adopted. And while all the groups we spoke with that are helping out, they're happy to help out. But they tell me that what we saw today with all those cats and dogs on a plane from Southern California, well, that is just the beginning of helping all these animals out.
We're not in the aftermath. It's all still going on. They need as much help and support as possible right now, and we want to be there for them.
It's been a long journey for these cats and dogs, escaping the aftermath of the Southern
War Machine. Right now, that is like one of my best performing videos on YouTube. The short had like 500 views within 10 minutes. All completely negative. All of the comments, like, it's been overwhelmingly downvoted thus far. But yeah. Because I called Mel Gibson a dumb bigot. Apparently people didn't like that. He made the dumbest faces. It was hilarious. And I really zoomed in on his face while he was talking as well.
California wildfire. As groups like the Seattle Humane Society,
we were able to take in 39 dogs and 18 cats.
And Pity Project P&W out of Bellingham.
Well, we try to just help out as much as we can when we can.
Pity Project.
Taking them in.
Love being able to help all these pets and help the city of Los Angeles.
Wings of Rescue flew out the
babies.
Dogs and cats to Boeing Field Sunday afternoon. President Rick Browdy says it was vital to get those animals elsewhere.
We had to empty them out of the shelter because they would have been euthanized to make room for the tidal wave of pets that are coming in who have been displaced by them.
Yet even before these wildfires, Ashley Georgia with Pity Project P&W will tell you that those shelters these cats and dogs were coming from,
The shelters and the rescues down there are already bursting at the seams before these fires happen. What happens when pets are displaced down there is they have to make room for those pets.
and while there is more work to do to help these animals, and believe me, there is.
Sweet babies.
We're going to be doing 5 more flights on the books already, and they'll probably be going on throughout the next couple of months.
It's work these animal groups in Western Washington and beyond are willing to do.
And when these things are happening, then it's very important for everyone that can to just come in and help, because we all really are in this together.
Sweeties.
And of course, if you are interested in adopting one of these dogs and cats, or just helping out groups like the Seattle Humane Society feed them, and being able to take care of them as they're looking for their forever home.
All of your local humane societies, your shelters, they all take donations. You can go. They'll usually have like a Chewy list where you can get items off of their list, any toys or foods or whatever. Sometimes they need specific items, and they'll have that on their Facebooks. I try to always share it. I love the animals. I try to always share out like babies that need homes and stuff.
Just head over to this story on our website, ckers7.com, to learn how. Live in Bellevue tonight, Jake Chapman, KIRO 7 News.
Yeah, the relief efforts.
I guess I should give you a more cute animal story, right? I should give you something cute and not necessarily lovable. It's cute. I don't know if this thing's really lovable. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I should give you something other than the sad story of the displaced animals. So here. I don't think you want to let him in. I definitely don't think you want to let them in. But they are adorable. I mean, if I die trying to are those foxes, or those wolves, or those coyotes? If I die being eaten by 12 foxes because I was trying to pet them, don't feel sorry for me. Yeah, they look like little babies. They're fucking gorgeous. I can say that now that the time has run out. If you're watching on Twitch, stick with us. It's Live Music Monday. I'll let Byronic pick the bands. If you're watching on YouTube, you're checking out the podcast, go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the Troll Patrol live at 8 a.m. God damn it.